ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतानः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, we are seeing this Viveka Chudamani. In the last class we read up to 82nd shloka. The discussion is about the Sthula Sharira. Sthula Sharira Shankaracharya is about to start. In the earlier class there was of course an introduction to the say what is self and what is non-self. So he was describing this non-self, that is majjasthimeda meda pala rakta charma tvagahvayehi dhatubhihi ebhiranvitam. He was saying, he was describing the gross body. Then he said the apata vairagya, that is superficial vairagya, is not adequate. Then somebody Vishayakhya Graho Yena Suviraktasina Hataha. So this Vishayakhya Graha, so this crocodile which is Vishaya, that has to be slashed with a big sword called Vairagya. So that is what we saw. Then Mokshasya Kansha Yadi Vaitavasti Tyajati Durad Vishayan Visham Yatha. So if you are having desire for moksha, you discard this desire for the sense objects. So up to that point we read. Now we have to read what exactly is this Sthula Sharira and how this attachment to the body, this love for the body, this attachment. Now of course you do take care of the body. The body has to be kept neat. It is not as though the body has to be kept very, very dirty and all that. The body has to be neat. But then there should not be attachment for that. There should not be clinging for that. So that is what he is going to say. This 83rd shloka we have to read now. So this class, this is 7-8 shlokas, the following 7-8 shlokas, they only talk about the Sthula Sharira, how that is not the Atma. The point is not mere description of Sthula Sharira, the point is to say that that is not the real self. So there is some, it is somewhat like an encasement. So you have something, you have an encasement for this. So that is not the phone as such, it is only the case. So something like that he is going to say. We will read this shloka. Anukshanam yat parihrutya krutyam anadya vidya krutabandha mokshanam deha parartho yam amushya poshane yas sajjate sasvamanena hanti. Anukshanam yat parihrutya krutyam. So every minute or every second, anukshanam is every second, every minute or every second. Yat parihrutya, by discarding which, pariharanam is discarding. Rejection. Rejection means what? That Atma Bhavana has to be rejected. Sharira should not be discarded, but the Atma Bhavana, the notion of identification with that body, that is Tadatmya Bhavana as we call it. We use the word Tadatmya Bhavana, isn't it? Tadatmya Bhavana is, that is me. That is, you can say that is mine, but that is, it is not me. Tadatmya Bhavana means you totally identify with that. It is me. So that sort of Tadatmya Bhavana has to be removed. It is, the body is no doubt yours, but then it is not you. It is not your real self. So that is what he says. Anukshanam yat parihrutya krutyam. Krutyam means karaniyam. Something has to be done. What is it that has to be done? Anadya vidya kruta bandha mokshanam. Mokshanam means getting released. Mokshanam, getting released. From what? Bandha, from the bondage. When there is a Sanskrit, say expression, long expression, normally you start from the last word. When you are explaining in English, you start from the last word. Here you see the expression, anadya vidya kruta bandha mokshanam. That is the expression, isn't it? So you start from the last word. So that is how the Sanskrit structure is there, which is totally different from at times, not at all times. At times it is so totally different. You have to start from the last word when you have to explain in English. So mokshanam is what? Getting freed from that, that. Mokshanam from the bandha. Bandha is bondage. Bondage created by what? Avidya kruta. Created by this avidya or ignorance. And what type of ignorance is it? It is anadi avidya. Anadi is another thing which we have to see. This avidya or maya is said to be anadi. It is not as though it is born at a particular point of time. It is also anadi. That is why Srushti also is anadi. Avidya, maya, in other words, maya means what? Maya means prakriti. Prakriti means Srushti only. So that is why we say Srushti is not one single thing which has happened at one point of time. It is not as though God thought, okay, let me create this world, and then He has created this world, and it is not some sort of one-time activity. It is something which goes on and on and on. It is eternal. So in this maya, or in this thing called prakriti, there are so many cycles. It comes and goes, comes and goes. It is like that. So what is the origin, point of origin? There is no point of origin for that. So that is why it is called anadi. But then it is called santam. Anadi and santam. Santam means it has an end. Though it is beginningless, it has an end. When a person becomes realized, when a person becomes realized that maya gets destroyed, the universe will not get destroyed. His understanding of the universe will totally change. For him, the maya gets destroyed. For this realized person, the maya gets destroyed. So that is what it is. Anadya vidya kruta bandha mokshanam. So this release from the bondage created by this anadi avidya. That is avidya, which is originless or beginningless. So it is coeval with Brahman. That is what they say. Brahman is something which has no beginning. This consciousness, pure consciousness, is something which has no beginning, no end, nothing. So such a thing, maya also is the same. So in that maya only, all this universe is appearing. So that is anadi avidya. So avidya kruta bandha mokshanam. Then deha pararthaha. Pararthaha means what? Deha is only an assemblage. Deha upachaye. Every day we eat something and then you make it strong. Upachaya means what? Collecting and collecting and collecting. So every day you eat. After a few hours it is digested. Again you eat. Again it is digested. You keep on eating and eating, and then tons and tons of food we have eaten, and then the body is like this only. So deha upachaye. That is, we are collecting and collecting. So this deha, pararthaha. Parartha means what? It is for the sake of somebody else. It is not in itself. It is not complete in itself. Deha is not complete in itself. This is not the Atma. It is parartha. Why? Sanghatasya pararthatvat. Any sort of assemblage is not, it is not the final thing in itself. It is for somebody else. This Sanghatasya pararthatvat is Karika by Ishvara Krishna, Sankhya Karika. It is a line from Sankhya Karika of Ishvara Krishna. That whole shloka I don't remember. That Sanghatasya pararthatvat. So he talks about in a similar context he says. So this construction here, you see, if you see the line, Anukshanam yat parihrutya krutyam anadya vidya kruta bandha mokshanam deha pararthaha ayam. So this is, construction is rather complicated here. Here the construction is like this. The body which has to be discarded, you see the body, not even which has to be discarded, the body having rejected which, yat parihrutya. Yat parihrutya, the meaning is having rejected which. The body having rejected which, effort has to be made every minute for the release from the bondage of this anadi avidya, bondage created by this anadi avidya. Such a body is parartha. So that is the whole construction. So if you want to see the construction here, if you want me to repeat, the body having rejected which, the body comma you can put, and then having rejected which, say you have to every second, every minute, you have to strive for this liberation, freedom from this bondage created by this moksha. So such a body is something which is parartha. It is for somebody else. So parartha ayam. Up to that point is one line. Then amushya poshane yas sajjate. So a person, yaha means a person who, one who, sajjate, he becomes engaged in what? Amushya poshane. Poshana of this body. A person who is busy in, say, pleasing his body, a person who is busy in building up his muscles and then he is identifying himself with his body, saha swam anena hanti. So he is killing himself by the same body. Swam anena, by the same body, hanti. In the sense, body is not going to do anything. He has only identified himself with that. So by identification with that body, we are not coming to the mind, with that body only. So this gentleman he is going away from the real self. He has identified himself with a lower self and he is totally away from the real self. So Swam Anena Hanti. So this is what we see. Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu. Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha we see in Gita. That is 5th chapter somewhere. So it is like that. Not 5th chapter, somewhere earlier. Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. So it is like that. So this Dehabhimana is something which has to be discarded. So that is what the shloka says. Then the next shloka, Sharira Poshanarthisam Ya Atmanam Didrukshati Graham Darudhiya Dhrutva Nadim Tartum Sagachati. So here is another beautiful metaphor. This metaphor here is metaphor of a crocodile. Shankaracharya quite often gives the metaphor of a crocodile. Probably it started very, very early in his life. We know the story of Shankaracharya. At the age of 8 or so, he wanted to renounce. He wanted to renounce and he told his body, he told his mother, "Oh mother, I will become a sannyasi." Then mother was very sad. Mother did not give him permission. So anyway, this gentleman was thinking how to become a sannyasi, how to renounce. Then one day when he was bathing in that river, it seems one crocodile caught him. Then he said, "Now I am almost dying. You please give me permission to become sannyasi." So at that time, she gave permission to him to become sannyasi. And after that, the crocodile, it left him, it seems. So that crocodile can be taken in a figurative way also. A crocodile which is the longing for the world, longing for this, say all the pleasures of the world, the crocodile has left him. So in that sense you can take. Maybe real also, we do not know. Shankaracharya's story is full of miracles. So if you want to believe in that miracle, you can believe in that also. So Shankaracharya, in Shankara's literature, this crocodile is quite often seen. Even in Lakshmi Nrsimha Karavalambana Stotram, there is one line. Samsara Sagara Vishala Karala Kala Nakragraha Grasana Nigraha Vigrahasya. Nakra means that crocodile. Nakragraha. Graha, Nakra, Graha, Grasana, it is just grabbing you and trying to eat you. So this metaphor is quite often seen. So here the same metaphor is used. So a person who uses this body and then who is very happy with this body and he is very happily maintaining this body, very devoting his time, maintaining in the sense he is devoting a full attention on this body, and then he is identifying himself with this body. So he is that Sharira Poshanarthi. So Sharira Poshanarthi san Yaha means the one who Atmanam Didrukshati. He also seeks liberation. He also seeks say self-realization. Atmanam Didrukshati. Didrukshati is Drashtumicha. Drashtumicha is Didruksha, that san pratyaya. Didrukshati. Your book says, does it say Didrukshati or Didrukshate? Didrukshate. Maybe both forms may be there, I have to check up. Didrukshate, whether Atmanepadi and Parasmepadi both are there, I am not sure. Atmanam Didrukshate or Didrukshati, the one who tries to know this self and simultaneously the man is keeping, having this identification with this body. So such a person is like somebody who is trying to float on a crocodile. So you come across a river and then crocodiles usually they just keep their head low and then they will be just floating on the water. And you at the first look you see that it may be a log of wood also. It can be some log or something like that. Suppose you want to sit on that and then try to cross over. Then immediately it can grab. So it is like that. So a person who is seeking this knowledge of self and at the same time having this identification with the body, he is like a person who wants to cross the river sitting on the back of a crocodile. So a crocodile can anytime grab him. So that is it. Graham Darudhiya Dhrutva. Graha is that crocodile. Darudhiya, thinking that it is a daru. Daru means wood, a log of wood. Daru, like door. Darudhiya, but thinking that or under the impression that it is a daru. Darudhiya Dhrutva, having taken it like that. Nadim Tartum Sagachati. So he tries to go across the river. So he is like that. He is such an ignorant man. So the Deha is something. Dehabhimana is something which is going to grab him somewhere in the middle. So that is it. Then he again says about moha, how this moha or delusion has to be avoided. Moha, what is moha? Delusion about what? This aham mama, that is what is moha. Moha is identification, this is mine, this is me. So that aham mama is this moha. So he says, moha eva mahamrutyur mamutshor vapuradishu moho vinirjito yena sa mukti padamarhati. Moha eva mahamrutyuhu. Mumukshoho means for a mumukshu, for somebody who is seeking moksha. Moksha is mumuksha. Desire in liberation is mumuksha. So for a person who is desirous of that moksha, moha eva mahamrutyuhu. This delusion is actually, that is the death, that is the mahamrutyu. Upanishad also says, ajnanam vai mrutyuhu. In fact, ajnanam or ignorance is what is called mrityu. Ajnanam is nothing but moha only. Ajnanam is this same delusion, this notion of I and mine. So that is the point here. So this moha eva mahamrutyuhu mumukshoho. Moha in what? Vapuradishu mohaha. Vapuhu means body. Vapuhu is body. Vapuradishu. Vapuhu, etc. Adi, by adi, you can say this body, etc. You can say body, mind, etc. Mind, of course, it is not mentioned here because we are going to see Sukshma Sharira later. Vapuradishu. Then moho vinirjito yena. The one by whom this moha has been conquered, this delusion has been conquered. So such a person, saha mukti padam arhati. So he is fit, he deserves to attain that level called moksha. So he is fit for this this inquiry. And then he is a person who is fit for moksha. Then again, next shloka also he says the same thing. Moham jahi mahamrutyam dehadara sutadishu yam jitva munayo yanti tad vishnoh paramam padam. Moham jahi mahamrutyam. So mahamrutyam moham jahi. So this particular moha, which is the greatest death, mahamrutyu, it is just mrityu only. That is jahi. Here, of course, this mrityu also we have come across this word earlier. Mrityu is death. Death means what? It is not as though a person is going to become deathless. That the idea that the body, I am dying, that idea will disappear because he realizes that he is not different from that supreme reality. Once that realization comes, then this fear of death will disappear. So that is what is mahamrutyu. The mahamrutyu itself is say defeated. So moham jahi mahamrutyam. So you destroy, you kill. Jahi. Han dhatu. Hanti. Ha is jahati. That's a different one. Jahati is leaving away. Hanti. Han dhatu. Hanti hataha gnanti. So on han, this jahi, ja comes as an adesha. On this han dhatu, ja comes as an adesha. Jahi. That is second person singular. Jahi. You kill. Or you destroy. So you destroy that mahamrutyu called moha. Moha in what? Deha, dara, sutadishu. Here is elaborating on that adi. Deha is body. Dara is wife. Daraha. The word is daraha. Daraha is always singular. It is in bahuvachana, always in bahuvachana. Wife, even if you are referring to one wife, it is mentioned as daraha. Yeah, nitya bahuvachana. Deha dara sutadishu. Suta is son. Adi, etc., etc. Your servants, bandhavas, relatives, etc., etc. That is moham jahi. Yam jitva munayo yanti. Munayaha yam jitva. Yam moham jitva. By conquering which? By conquering which or by killing which? Munayaha. Munayaha means manana silinaha. Thinking persons. Because unless you are a muni, you cannot conquer this moha. Basic point is, unless you are a thinking person, unless you are a person who, analyzing what it is, unless you are doing some discrimination about what is it and what is its real nature, you cannot destroy it. So, yam jitva munayaha yanti. Yanti means they attain what? Tad Vishnoh paramam padam. That is that Vishnu's paramam padam. That is the highest abode of Vishnu. So, here of course we have to see what is this Vishnoh paramam padam. Is he staying, Vishnu is somewhere staying there in somewhere in the sky? So here again we have to see explanation. Here, of course, the Swamiji has given an explanation. Chandrasekhara Bharati Swamiji has given an explanation about the same explanation which Shankaracharya has given Tadhama Paramam Mama in Gita. Tadhama Paramam Mama. What does he say? He says it is like Raho Shiravat. Rahu and Shira, they are not different. Rahu itself is Shiraha and Shiraha itself is Rahu. So that is it. Raho Shiraha. Two words are used. Rahu's head. But Rahu is the same as head, because we know in that story that Rahu was beheaded and then only that story, that head was remaining, and head itself is called Rahu. So when you say Raho Shiraha, there is no difference between Rahu and Shira. So that is what it is. Tad Vishnoh Paramam Padam. Vishnu itself is Anantam, Sarvavyapi. Vyapnoti iti Vishnu, isn't it? Vyapanashilaha. That is, Vishnu is something which is all pervading. For something which is all pervading, there is no particular place like Tad Dhama. There is no particular home, there is no particular abode where he dwells. There are no 7 gates which we see in Tirumala TTD channel. Those 7 gates open and then Lord Vishnu is there relaxing on some bed of that snake couch, let us say. Couch, of course, is a bad word. Couch is psychologist's couch. So Vishnu is not in that condition. So he is a snake bed, let us say. So all that is a metaphorical only. So this Tad Vishnoh Paramam Padam, there is Abheda. Rahu and Shira, there is Abheda. There is not difference. So that is it. It is not some abode of Vishnu. So this is one point which we have to see. Because here translation also, here it is written, this high dwelling place of Vishnu. It is not high dwelling place. It is Raho Shiraha. Like that we have to understand. Then he is further describing the gross body again, because we have come across one description earlier. He is again describing in this 87th shloka. Tvang mamsa rudhirasnayu medo majjasthi sankulam purnam mutra purisha abhyam sthulam nindyamidam vapuhu. This sthulam vapuhu, nindyam. This sthulam vapuhu means this gross body, which is something which is nindyam, which is something which is despicable, which is something which has to be, it should not be treated as I. It has its place, no doubt, but it should not be treated as I. It is not my real self, nindyam. Why is it nindyam? Tvak, mamsa, rudhira, snayu, etc., etc. All these things, these are the constituents in this. Tvak, we saw that tvak, charma. Charma is the outer skin and tvak is the lower skin, finer skin. So here tvak, that skin. Mamsa, flesh. Rudhira is blood. Rudhira, snayu. Snayu means what we call sinews, which bind, various joints. They are called snayu. Snayu. Snayu is the same as sinew. S-I-N-E-W, sinew. Snayu. Meda. Meda is fat. Medas is fat. Meda. Majja. Majja is the marrow. Marrow in the bone, inside the bone. Majja. Asthi is the bone. Asthi sankulam. Sankulam is, it is a collection of all these things. Sankulam. Sankula is, it is a collection. It is an assemblage of all these things. Then Purnam Mutra Purisha Abhyam. It is also filled with Mutra Purisha. The excreta, the both solid and liquid excreta which the human being has. Not only human being but every animal. So Purnam Mutra Purisha Abhyam. This excreta which every being has. So this filled with all these things. This particular Sthola Sharira is something which is nindyam. It is something which has to be, it deserves our contempt. It has to be contemptuously dismissed. So that is what it means. So contemptuously dismissed does not mean that you should not take care. You have to take proper care of it. But at the same time, you should not have love for it. You should not have attachment for it. You should not be busy in building up body and building up muscles. You have to keep your health. There is no problem. Then, so where is this body from? The next question is, where is this body from? So it is now coming. So earlier we had a reference to that Panchikaranam, etc. In an earlier shloka, we saw some reference to this Panchikaranam. That is, the 5 elements in their elemental form, how they mix and then how they become the gross elements. So those gross elements, they are responsible for the body. So that is what he is going to say in this shloka. Panchikritebhyo bhutebhyah sthulebhyah purvakarmana samutpannamidam sthulam bhogayatanam atmanah avastha jagarastasya sthularthanubhavo yatah. So there are 3 lines in this shloka. Sometimes because the same meaning continues, sometimes 3 lines are also used in one shloka. So here he says, Panchikritebhyo bhutebhyah sthulebhyah bhutebhyah means from the 5 gross elements. Sthulebhyah bhutebhyah, from the 5 gross elements. And also what? Panchikritebhyah, those which have already mixed. I told you that Panchikaranam, that is, there are 5 things. Each one is divided into, say, there are 2 halves. Imagine, each one, you make 2 halves. One half is with me, and then the remaining half I am making into 4 parts, distributing to all the rest of 4. The same is done by all others. So which means that all others, they have half of their own original form, and then the remaining half they share with the remaining 4. So which means everything is complete with 1/2 of one's own thing and 1/8 of the remaining 4. So that is what is called Panchikaranam. So Panchikritebhyah bhutebhyah, so when they mix like that, then they become gross, in the sense that they become perceptible by the senses. Gross and subtle, the only difference is, subtle is something which are apanchikrita bhutani, that is, which have not yet become like this, which are not yet seen. Panchikarana is something which are where you are able to cognize them with your senses. All the 5 senses, the 5 sense objects can be seen. No, seen means perceived. So Panchikritebhyah bhutebhyah, then samutpannam idam sthulam shariram. So this sthula sharira, this gross body is samutpannam. How is it samutpannam? Purva karmana samutpannam. There is a word here, purva karmana. So this karma, purva karma, is responsible for even this gross body. That means we are aware of this karma doctrine. Why this karma doctrine has been accepted by us? In order to explain the diversity, so much of diversity in the creation. One fellow is small, one fellow is quite big, one fellow is handsome, one fellow is ugly, one fellow is lame, another fellow is perfectly okay, another fellow is full of diseases. All these things are there. So much of disparity by the same God in the same universe. How? Why? So God cannot be partial to somebody and then harsh to someone else. So how to explain? So this is the reason why the entire Asian countries, not only India but China or the whole of Southeast Asian countries or the entire Asian countries, half of the humanity, they accept what is called the karma doctrine. The remaining, of course, according to our, in fact, people, I mean, I have not thoroughly read Christianity, but Christianity also in the initial days, they accepted this punarjanma, karma, etc. But then later, in the 3rd century or so, they changed their doctrine and then they made it, this punarjanma, they discarded it. So somehow, I can't quote authority, but this is what they say. So anyway, this purva janma or purva karma is accepted only for this reason. And also to say that a human being is responsible for his action. A human being is responsible for his action. And Gita very solidly says, Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukrutam vibhuhu. That 5th adhyaya, if you see, it is a very, very bold statement. And it is a shocking statement for anybody who is a blind believer. A blind believer who thinks that, oh, God will take away all my sins. God is not meant to take away your sins. It is not the job of God to take away your sins. So that shloka says, Na adatte kasyachit papam. God, that the real, the actual, the highest reality, whatever we call, it is not bothered about your sins and all that. It is not going to take away your sins. So your belief in God will only give you good buddhi. What is it? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. God, if you keep worshipping Him, you get good buddhi. Your buddhi will become clear, your mind will become pure, and then you will attain liberation through that process. So that is what he says. So here, purva karmana, the body which I have is only because of my purva karma. If somebody else is having some other type of body, it is by his purva karma. So for that karma anubhava, karma phala anubhava, for experiencing the fruit of that particular karma, earlier karma, he has adopted a particular body. And I have adopted this particular body because of my purva karma. So that is what it says. Then this sthulam shariram is Atmanaha bhogayatanam. Atmanaha means of the jiva, for the jiva. Here we have to talk about jivatma. Who is this jivatma? This antahkaranavacchinnam chaitanyam is jiva. That is all. That is, this chaitanya or consciousness which is associated or identified with this antahkarana is what is called jiva. So this jivatma is somebody for whom the body is needed. For what? Bhogayatanam. There is a karma of the past. In order to enjoy or suffer the fruit of that karma, there is something called a body. So right from day one, a fellow is very, very healthy. That means there is some good karma in the past. Or he is always sick. There is some bad karma in the past, so the fellow is always suffering. So it is like that. Bhogayatanam. So this is the place. Ayatanam. Ayatanam means what? That is the source. That is the not source. Bhogayatanam. It is ayatanam actually means a place, a dwelling place. Bhogayatanam means this is the place for bhoga. This is the place. That is the only word. This is the place where this enjoyment, bhoga means to experience, either good or bad. So this is the place. So that is how this body has come into existence. Then avastha jagarasthasya sthularthanubhavo yatah. And because this sthula sharira, this sthulartha anubhava means what? Experience of the gross objects. Experience of the gross objects is taking place only in the Jagrada Avastha. So for this body, in this Jagrada Avastha alone, for this body, in this Jagrada Avastha alone, this experience of Sthulartha is going on. So that is what it is. So, Avastha Jagaras Tasya. Tasya means of this body. For this body, Avastha means what? The state of being Bhogayatanam. So for this body, the state of being a Bhogayatanam is only in this Jagrada Avastha. For this body, this Avastha, the state of being Bhogayatanam is Jagaraha. Jagaraha means Jagrada Avastha. For what? Sthularthanubhavaha. Because here there is Sthularthanubhavaha, experience of the gross objects. Is this line clear? Because one or two structurally it has to be taken as asya sharirasya avastha. Avastha is the state of being a bhogayatanam is jagaraha yataha, by which sthularthanubhavaha bhavati, sambhavati. So that construction we have to do like that. Because this all human experience is only in this jagrada avastha and sushupti, not sushupti avastha. Of course, sushupti avastha also is experienced later. Jagrada avastha and swapna avastha. Jagrada avastha, the sthula sharira experiences the gross objects. In this swapna avastha, which is it? It is not sushma sharira which enjoys. Sushma sharira only projects. It is another sthula sharira which is called vasanamaya sharira. In Jagrada avastha, of course, no doubt, this sthula sharira enjoys all things. In dream, which is the body which is enjoying? It is not this sthula sharira, but another visual, imaginary sthula sharira, vasanamaya, kalpanika sharira, it is said. Kalpanika means something which is visualized, something which is a product of your own vasanas. Vasanamaya sharira it is called, which is a product of our own vasanas. So that body is the experiencer there. Then next shloka is about bahyendriyehi. Okay. Bahyendriyai sthula padartha sevam srakchandana striyadi vichitra rupam karoti jiva swayametadatmana tasmat prashastisvapushosya jagare prashastirvapushosya jagare. Bahyendriyai sthula padartha sevam karoti. So this how does he experience all these gross objects? Bahyendriyehi, by all these external indriyas which are there, all the sense and indriyas. Of course, he is going to describe what are those indriyas. By these bahyendriyas, a person is enjoying or he is experiencing all this sthula padartha seva. Padartha is what? Object. Sthula padartha is gross objects. Seva. Seva means sevam karoti. What? He savors them, he enjoys them, he experiences them. Seva, sevate. Actually, who savors them, who enjoys them. Bahyendriyehi. And what type of sthula padarthas are they? Srak, Chandana, Striyadi, Vichitra Rupam. Diverse forms. Vichitra Rupam. So many multiple forms, so many wonderful forms. What are they? Srak. Srak means a garland. Probably in olden days, because this expression is quite often seen. Srak Chandana Vanitadi. Srak Chandana Vanitadayaha, that expression is quite often seen. So which means in olden days people used to wear garlands. Always. Always you just wear a garland and then keep on going. So that probably it used to be the fashion in those days. So Srak means, so that is why we also see in films, Krishna, Rama, they also wear garlands. So Srak. Srak means the garland. Chandana, perfume. Chandana is actually sandal, strictly speaking sandal, but any perfume you can say. Srak Chandana. Striyadi, Stri, woman. So all these things, Striyadi, Adi, Stri, woman, etc. There are so many other things. It may be Madira, it may be drink, it may be something else, it may be something else. All these Vichitra Rupam, diverse forms, good, bad, ugly, everything. All these diverse forms. Karoti, Sevam Karoti. Karoti what? Sevam. Sevam, Strakchandana, Striyadi, Vichitra Rupam, Karoti. Sevam Karoti means what? Sevate. He enjoys them. He savors them. Then Jivaha. Jivaha means this particular Jiva. Then Swayam Etadatmana. This word Etadatmana also means Tadatmya Buddhi. Etadatmana is identifying with that. Identifying that he is that. So with that Etadatmana, with that Buddhi, Tadatmya Buddhi, having identified with that, then Tasmat Prashastihi Vapushaha Asya Jagare. So Asya means of this particular, of this person. So Prashastihi Jagare Vartate. That is, so for him, the most important thing is Jagrada Avastha. For a person, he feels that his most important state is Jagrada Avastha. Prashasti. Prashasti means what? Importance. Tasmat Prashastihi Vapushaha Asya Vapushaha Jagare Prashastihi. Is it clear? That particular line, is it clear? So for this Sharira, so this importance of body is in this Jagrada Avastha only. Importance of the body is in this Jagrada Avastha. Then the next shloka also is like that, about the Deha only. Sarvopi Bahya Samsaraha Purushasya Yadashrayah Vidhi Dehamidam Sthulam Gruhavad Gruhamedhinaha. Sarvopi Bahya Samsaraha. So here in the earlier shloka, is there anything else? Sthularthanubhava Panchikaranam. So the next shloka is Sarvopi Bahya Samsaraha Purushasya Yadashrayah. So Bahya Samsaraha Sarvopi, this whole Bahya Samsara, this whole external world, Purushasya Yadashrayah, on which it is depending. So this construction is like this. This gross Sharira on which the entire external samsara is depending. The gross Sharira, you can write down, because the construction of these 3-4 say shlokas, it is rather difficult. So the construction is like this. Purushasya sarvopi bahya samsaraha yadashrayah. That is the Anvaya. So the meaning is, this gross Sharira on which the entire external samsara is depending. This gross Sharira on which the entire external samsara is depending. Know this as comparable to the house in the case of a householder. So this Sarvopi Bahya Samsaraha is dependent on this external body only, isn't it? All our object, all our activity is dependent only on this external, on this Sthola Sharira only. All the enjoyment of sense objects is dependent only on this Sthola Sharira. So Vidhi Dehamidam Sthulam. So this body, this is the gross body. It is like Gruhavat Gruhamedhinaha. For a Gruhamedhi. Gruhamedhi means a householder. In fact, the word Gruhamedhi has been commented upon by Mallinatha Suri in Raghuvamsha Vyakhyanam, Raghuvamsha commentary. He has commented it, Gruhaihi Daraihi Medhante iti Gruhamedhinaha. So he says Gruhamedhi. Gruha not only means a house, it also means a wife, Gruha. Gruhaihi Medhate, Gruhaihi Medhante iti Gruhamedhinaha. That is, those who say cohabit with their wives, so they are the Gruhamedhinaha. So that is people who are married, those who are in the Gruhastha Dharma. Those who are in the Gruhastha Dharma, they are the Gruhamedhinaha. But here it is not that sense. Here it is only Gruhamedhi. We have to take in a, not in the etymological sense, but in normal, say, what is that sense? Not in the etymological sense, but Rudhyartha. Rudhyartha is Gruhamedhi. Rudhyartha is the meaning which is which has stuck to it over a period of time. The original meaning was different, but now the meaning has changed and then some other meaning has come. So that is Rudhyartha. So Gruhamedhinaha, for a Gruhamedhi, it is like a Gruha. So the whole sentence is like this gross Sharira on which the whole external samsara is depending. So you have to know this, you understand this. Vidhi means you know this, understand this as comparable to the house of a householder. So this Bhashya Samsara is full of what? Bhashya Samsara and Antara Samsara. Of course, the Swamiji makes a small distinction between this Bhashya Samsara and Antara Samsara. Bhashya Samsara is this external, say, world does not mean not only outside the thing, outside the body, but even in the body. That is Janma, Jara, Maranam, that is birth, old age, growing, and various types of changes which occur in the body. And then sthulatva, krushatva, etc. Somebody who is fat, somebody who is thin, etc., etc. All these bhava vikaras, all these things, they are the Bhashya Samsara. Antara Samsara is, that is kartrutva, bhoktrutva, sukha, dukkha, etc. That is the notion of I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, kartrutva and bhoktrutva, those two. And then sukha, dukkha, I am happy, I am unhappy, etc. That is the inner world. So the external Bhashya Samsara is Janma, Jara, Dukkha, etc. whatever physical changes that take place in the body. And this Antara Samsara is Sukha, Dukkha, Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva, etc. etc. So that is one explanation given by the Swamiji there. But the actual self is without these two samsaras. The actual self, what is that supreme, the real self is bereft of these two samsaras. So that is what we see here. Then the next shloka, Sthulasya Sambhava Jara Maranani Dharmaha Staulyadayo Bahuvidha Shishutadyavasthaha Varnashramadiniyama Bahudhamaya Syuhu Puja Vamana Bahumana Mukha Visheshaha. So for this Sthula Sharira, Sthulasya means for this Sthula Sharira, Sambhava Jara Maranani Dharmaha. Sthulasya Sharirasya Dharmaha. What are they? Dharma means properties. The properties of the Sthula Sharira are Sambhava. Sambhava means origin. Jara, old age. Maranani means death. Sambhava, Maranani. Birth, old age, death, etc. etc. They are all the Dharma. They are the. And also Staulyadayaha. Staulyam. Sthula means what? Stout. Staulyadayaha. That is stout. Somebody is thin, somebody is fair, somebody is dark, etc. etc. All various changes in the various types of changes in the body. Staulyadayaha, Bahuvidhaha, of different types. Shishutadyavasthaha, there are so many levels also. Avastha, that is Balya, Kaumara, Vardhaka, etc. etc. Shishuta, Shishu means what? Child. Shishuta means childhood. Shishutadi avasthaha, he is referring to this six bhava vikara, Jayate, Asti, Vardhate, etc. A person is born, then he slowly grows, and then Vardhate, then Parinamati, undergoes some change. He becomes strong, then he becomes weak, apachiyate, vinasyati, etc. etc. He is referring to those things. Then not only that, varnashramadi niyamaha, for this body only, this varnashramadi niyamaha are there. Varna, we know these varnas, these four varnas called Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, Shudra, there are called varna niyamaha. That is, niyama is what? Some particular norm. A Brahmin has to be like this, a Kshatriya has to be like this. In olden days, probably by mere look, probably you could recognize who was a Brahmin, etc. Because by virtue of the thread which a person was wearing, a Brahmin was supposed to wear a cotton, thread, sacred thread, cotton. A Kshatriya was supposed to wear a silken thread. A Vaishya was supposed to wear some other thing, some other type of thread. So like that, by seeing the thread itself, we could say, or by seeing the tuft, the particular tuft, etc. So like that, there were certain niyamas. A Brahmin should wear like this, dhoti he should wear like this, like what we see in Venkateswara, I mean Tirumala here also. whether we should put three namas or two namas, or these three namas in what design it has to be put, there is some small controversy. So like that, there are certain niyamas, jati niyamas, etc. Varna ashramadi niyamaha. Ashrama is brahmachari, gruhastha, then vanaprastha and sannyasi. So these four are ashramas. So this varna niyamaha and ashrama niyamaha. There are so many niyamas. If you see dharma shastras, in those dharma shastras we come across all these niyamas. A Brahmin has to do this, etc. So bahudha amayaha. Amaya means disease. Bahudha amayaha. Syuhu means they will be existing. They syuhu. They do exist. Then puja avamana bahumana mukha visheshaha. Puja means respect, honor. Sometimes you get honored. Puja not necessarily means worship, because puja you only worship the god. Here puja means respect or honoring. Avamana is dishonor, disrespect. Bahumana again is another type of sammana. Bahumana, sammana, all these things are this is another type of honoring. Puja is slightly higher level. Bahumana is slightly lower level of honoring. So avamana, bahumana, mukhaha means such as. Bahumana, mukhaha, such as all these things. Bahumana, mukha, visheshaha, all these features. Visheshaha means some special features. So sthula sarira, it is only for the sthula sarira that all these things happen. That is sambhava, jara, maranani, etc. Then all varieties like sthula, thin, dark, fair, etc., etc. And then shishuta, dyavastaha, these bhava vikaraha, this childhood, etc., etc., etc. Then also various types of norms called varnashrama, dharma, etc., etc. All these things are only for the sthula sarira, gross body only. Puja, avamana, visheshaha, bahudha, visheshaha. Now he is coming to the 10 indriyas. Today I don't know, we have completed quite fast about the 9 shlokas. The 10 indriyas, we will read this shloka also. So this is an introduction to the subtle body. We are now coming to the introduction of this subtle body. What is this subtle body? Subtle body, we know that it is the 5 jnanendriya and 5 karmendriya, pancha prana, manas and buddhi. They are supposed to be the sushma sarira, the subtle body. So that description is coming now. The 10 indriyas are being described in this particular verse. Buddhi indriyani shravanam tvagakshi ghranancha jihva vishayavabodhanat vakpanipada gudamapyupastha karmendriyani pravanena karmasu. Does your book say pravanani karmasu?
Yes.
That is a patantaram. Pravanani also is okay, pravanena also is okay. Pravanani karmasu means karmasu pravanani. Those who are inclined to activity, those who are tuned to, those who are oriented towards activity. So that is what pravana shabda means. Pravanena means because they are like that. Pravanena, tena karanena, because they are engaged in that. So it what means. So here he is explaining what in the first line is about buddhi indriyani. Buddhi indriyani shravanam tvak akshi ghranam cha jihva. Buddhi indriyani means what? Sense organs, those which give jnanendriya as we call it, jnanendriya, by which we get sense impressions. By physical, say, by other things, vak, pani, pada, etc., we don't get any intelligence. This is intelligence we get only by the 5 sense organs. So these 5 sense organs are being called buddhi indriyani. So what are they? Shravanam. Shravana means this indriya, this sense of hearing. Sense of hearing is called Shravanam. Tvak, that is the skin, sense of touch. Akshi, the sense of sight. Then Ghranam, the sense of smell. Then Jihva, the sense of taste, which is the Jihva means tongue. So here of course he is describing the places where these are called Indriya Golaka. Indriya Golaka is the physical location where the taste is there. Not taste, where that sense is located. For example, Shravanam. This Karna Shashkulyavachinna Chaitanyam, they say. Technically speaking, Shravanam means Karna Shashkulyavachinnam Chaitanyam. So that is the Chaitanyam or consciousness which is avachinna, which is delimited by this Karna Shashkuli. So that is what is called Shravana Indriyam. Simply speaking, Shravana, the sense of hearing, we can say, the sense of hearing which is associated with this physical structure called ear. And the sense of, say, what is it, touch, which is associated with the tvak, the skin. And the sense of, say, sight, which is associated with this socket called golakam, Akshi golakam called Akshi. And the sense of smell, which is associated physically with this, say, structure called nose. The sense of taste, which is associated with the physical structure called tongue. So that is the jihva. Why are they called buddhi indriyani? Vishaya avabodhanat. Because they tell you, they give you some intelligence about Vishaya. I am able to see this, I am able to smell something, I am able to touch something. So all these things, Vishaya avabodhanam. This, they are able to give me some intelligence to my mind. They get some signals to my mind. So that is why they are called buddhi indriyani. Then there are karmendriyani. They are mere tools of action. They don't get any intelligence. They are like workers. So their intelligence wing is different and active field wing is different. So it is like that. So intelligence wing is collecting intelligence. The field people, they are going into the field. Buddhi, Vak, Pani, Pada, Padaha. Vak is speech. Pani is hand. Pada is foot. Vak, Pani, Padaha. When these three are in one samasa, it gets, what is it, plural. Vak, Pani, Padaha. Gudam api upastha. Gudam api. Gudam is the rectum. Upastha is the reproductive organ. Upastha is the organ of reproduction. So these are the karmendriyani. Karmasu pravanena karanena. Because these things are engaged, they are tuned, they are oriented towards karmas. So for this reason, they are called karmendriyani. They are organs of action. So organs of intelligence as contrasted with organs of action. I think we will continue in the next class. We have completed about 10 slokas today. Harihi Om Tat Sat.